The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bridges. Buckner. Coleman. Cook. Quorum. Danielson.
Good morning.
Donovan. Fenberg. Fields. Gardner. Janal. Gonzalez. Hanson. Heisey. Holbert. Here. Hawkes Lewis. Kirkmeyer.
Excuse.
Colker. Lee. Liston. Lundeen. Moreno. Pedersen. Pedersen. Priola. Rankin. Rodriguez. Scott.
Excused.
Simpson. Smallwood. Sonnenberg. Story. Winter. Woodward. Zenzinger. Mr. President.
Here. The morning roll call is 33 present, 0 absent, 2 excused. We have a quorum. Would the good senator from Centennial please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Members, please join me in the pledge this morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thinking of a new limerick is not so easy. It racks my brain and makes me queasy. It's not so fun thinking of a unique pun. Sometimes it makes you crazy and sleazy. And with that, Mr. President, I move the reading of the Journal of Monday, April 19th be dispensed with and the Journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President.
Aye, the good senator from Senate District 10, Colorado Springs, will be fined $3. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
April 20th, correctly revised House Bills 1066, 1107, 1153, 1155, 1156, 1157, 1158, 1165, 1178, 1187, 1218, correctly revised House Bills 1092, 1115, 1138, correctly enrolled Senate Bill 79.
Committee reports.
April 19th, Committee on Health and Human Services, after consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1099 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. Mr. President, April 19th, Mr. President, the Committee on Health and Human Services had in consideration has a hearing on the following appointments. Recommends the appointments be placed in consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Colorado Commission on the Aging, effective July 1st, 2020, for terms expiring July 1st, 2024. Lauren O'Connell, Wilton, Colorado, serving as an unaffiliated from the 6th Congressional District, appointed. Margaret Nugent to Colorado Springs, Colorado, serving as an unaffiliated from the 5th Congressional District, appointed. Miles Crane of Fort Collins, Colorado, serving as an unaffiliated from the 2nd Congressional District, appointed. Jane Barnes of Lakewood, Colorado, serving as a Republican from the 7th Congressional District, reappointed. James DeVries of Denver, Colorado, serving as an unaffiliated from the 1st Congressional District, reappointed. Deborah Herrera of Ignacio, Colorado, serving as a Democrat from the 3rd Congressional District, reappointed. Connie Ring of Springfield, Colorado, serving as an unaffiliated from the 4th Congressional District, reappointed. April 19th, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration of the merits, committee recommends following. House Bill 1193 be referred to the committee whole with favorable recommendation. April 19th, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration of the merits, committee recommends the following. House Bill 1224 be amended as follows. So amended, be referred to the committee whole with favorable recommendation. Recommendations are placed on the consent calendar.
Message from the House.
April 19th, the House has passed on third reading and returns here with Senate Bills 206, 207, 208, 209, 211, 212, 213, 214, 215, 216, 217, 218, 219, 220, 222, 222, 228. 56 and 144. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to revised statutes. House Bills 221 and 67 amended as printed in House Journal April 15, 2021. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to revised statutes. Senate Bill 135 amended as printed in House Journal April 16, 2021. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to revised statutes. House Bill 1226 and 1217 amended as printed in House Journal April 15, 2021. The House has passed on third reading, transmitted to revised statutes. House Bills 1241. The House has passed on third reading, transmitted to revised statutes. House Bills 1100, 1010, 1122, 1128 amended as printed in House Journal April 16, 2021. The Speaker has appointed Representatives McCluskey, Chair, Harrod, and Ransom as House conferees on the First Conference Committee on Senate Bill 205.
Message from the reviser.
We herewith transmit without comment House Bills 1241, without comment as amended House Bills 1010, 1100, 1122, 1128, 1217, 1226, without comment as amended Senate Bill 67, 135, and 221.
Third reading of bills consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all of the bills listed on third reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1165 by Representatives Carver and Duran and Senators Gardner and Lee concerning assistance for victims of strangulation who receive medical examinations. House Bill 1107 by Representatives Caraveo and Carver and Senators Bridges and Loring concerning protections for certain public health workers. House Bill 1218 by Representatives Duran and Bockenfield and Senators Dixon, Danielson and Garcia concerning organization requirements to qualify applicants to be issued to the Colorado Professional Firefighter's license plate. House Bill 1156 by Representatives Lynch and Pico and Senators Kirkmeyer and Zenzinger concerning the correction of statutory defects related to severance tax withholdings from a disbursement to an oil and gas interest owner. House Bill 1153 by Representatives Arnton Valdez and Senators Moreno concerning the repeal of the enterprise zone child care contributions income tax credit for income tax years commencing prior to January 1st, 1999. House Bill 1157 by Representative Arndt and Lynch and Senators Kirkmeyer and Woodward concerning the accurate statutory reference to types of taxes administered by the Department of Revenue for purposes of administrative requirements. House Bill 1155 by Representative Arnton, Pico, and Senators Zenzinger and Woodward concerning modifications to the sales and use tax statutes in order to adjust certain defects and anachronisms. House Bill 1187 by Representatives Young and Pelton and Senators Winter and Rankin concerning implementation of case management designed to ensure conflict-free case management for members eligible for long-term services and supports under the Medicaid program. House Bill 1178 by Representative Pico and Valdez D. and Senators Woodward and Zenzinger concerning correcting non-substantive errors in the Colorado Marijuana Code. House Bill 1158 by Senators Lynch and Valdez D. and Senators Kirkmeyer concerning non-substantive modifications to sales and use tax exemptions and in connection therewith reorganizing sales and use tax exemptions for agricultural, livestock, and special fuels. House Bill 1066 by Representative Bockenfeld, Michelson, Janae, and Senators Smallwood and Woodward concerning the modification of monthly financial department report requirements of the Department of Transportation.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the bills on third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bills 1165, 1107, 1218, 1156, 1153, 1157, 1155, 1187, 1178, 1158, and 1066.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing no discussion, are there any no votes on any of the bills listed on third reading of bills consent calendar? Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request to be a no vote on 1107 and 1218, please.
The senator will be recorded as a no vote on those bills. Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to be recorded as a no vote on 1107 and 1218.
The senator will be recorded as a no vote on those bills. Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request to be recorded as a no vote on 1218.
Senator Priola will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1218. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1218.
The Minority Leader will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1218. Senator Smallwood.
Morning, Mr. President. I request to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1107.
Senator Smallwood will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1107. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also request to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1107.
The Minority Leader will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1107. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, House Bill 1165 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Gonzalez, Moreno, Colker, Priola, Cook, Buckner, Winter, Janal, Lee, Danielson, Pedersen, Story. Please add the president. With a vote of 29 ayes, 4 no votes, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1107 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Moreno, Winter, Janal, Danielson, Buckner, Hawkes Lewis, Story, Colker, Pedersen, Lee, Gardner. The Majority Leader, Liston, Cook, please add the president. With a vote of 29 ayes, 4 no votes, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1218 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Colker, Janal, Pedersen, Winter, Hawkes Lewis, Story, Lee, Bridges. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1156 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Cook, Sonnenberg, Lundin, Simpson, Woodward, Gardner, Liston, Priola, Rankin. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no votes, 0 absent, and 2 excused, House Bill 1153 is passed. Co-sponsors, with a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 2 excused, House Bill 1157 is passed. Co-sponsors, Mr. Minority Leader. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1155 is passed. Co-sponsors, with a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 2 excused, House Bill 1187 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Janal, Hawkes Lewis, Priola, Pedersen, Simpson, Smallwood, Buckner, Donovan, Heisey, Woodward, Lundin. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1178 is passed. Co-sponsors, with a vote of 33 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 2 excused, House Bill 1158 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Simpson, Cook, Lundin, Priola, Sonnenberg, Gardner, Kolker, Minority Leader. Woodward, Liston, Rankin, Heisey. With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, House Bill 1066 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Moreno, Cook, Priola, Minority Leader, Lundin, General Order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of Whole for consideration of second reading of bills consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself to the Committee of Whole for consideration, General Order, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Zenzinger will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all the bills on general order, second reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1148 by Representative Bockenfield, Michelson, Janay, and Senators Fields and Smallwood, concerning the distribution of an annual report regarding the Carl State Fair and in connection therewith changing the annual reporting deadline and requiring that the report be submitted to all members of the General Assembly. House Bill 1046 by Representative Arndt and Caitlin, and Senators Field and Sonnenberg, concerning the use of a water right obtained through a mutual ditch corporation. House Bill 1008 by Representative Arndt and Caitlin, and Senators Cook and Hansen, concerning increased options for financing forest health projects and in connection with financing wildlife mitigation treatments. House Bill 1091 by Representative Daughtry and Lynch and Senators Buckner, concerning sentencing parity for juveniles convicted as adults following the transfer of charges with juveniles convicted as adults following the direct filing of charges.
Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar and their associated committee reports, which includes House Bills 1148, 1046, 1008, and 1091, along with the Judiciary Committee report.
Is there any discussion on the Judiciary Committee report? Seeing none, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills on consent calendar? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report as had under consideration the following task bills, being the second reading thereof, makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1148, 1046, 1008, and 1091 as amended, passed on second reading, in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 2 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. House Bill 1148, House Bill 1046, House Bill 1008, House Bill 1091 as amended, passed on second reading, ordered, revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General Order, second reading of bills. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole for consideration of General Orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Zenzinger will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the coat rule is relaxed. Majority Leader Funberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 61 and Senate Bill 116 lay over until tomorrow, April 21st.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 61 and Senate Bill 116 until tomorrow. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 61 and 116 will be laid over until tomorrow. Majority Leader Funberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1129 lay over to the bottom of the general order second reading of bills calendar.
The motion is to lay over House Bill 1129 to the bottom of the general orders second reading of bills calendar. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill will be laid over to the bottom of the calendar. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1060?
House Bill 1060 by Representative Gonzalez, Gutierrez, and Jota, and Senators Gonzalez concerning the certification process for the purpose of application for U non-immigrant status.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1060 and ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1060? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1060. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and House Bill 1060 is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1057?
House Bill 1057 by Representative Robertson, Tipper, and Senators Cook and Rodriguez concerning a prohibition against the extortion of immigrants for engaging in lawful acts.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill. Move the amendment. I move House Bill 1057.
Great. I believe there is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L002?
L002 to House
Senator
Bill 1057.
Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L002. What this amendment does is, in the bill, this bill was on the consent calendar. We had to pull it off for notification from OLLS that in the bill we have a potential appropriation, and since this bill did not go through appropriations, we have decided to remove the potential appropriation. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion on Amendment L002? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of Amendment L002. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1057 as amended with a favorable vote.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1057? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of House Bill 1057. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1129?
House Bill 1129 by Representatives McCloskey, Bradford, and Senators Bridges and Story concerning extension of the deadline by which teachers must complete training in teaching reading.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1129.
To the bill. Senator Story.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is simply an extension of time for educators to acquire training that is required from the READ Act, and will provide them an opportunity to move forward with their training between now and the beginning of next school year, the 2022-23 school year. And that's what this bill does. We would appreciate your support.
Senator Lundin. Senator Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I honestly don't understand why this bill is needed. I mean, the word simply was used by the sponsor. I don't think it's simple at all because it affects our number one priority in K-12 as voted on by the State Board of Education, Education Leadership Council, and every education support organization. That is, to teach our kids to read. Only 38% of our kids can read at third grade testing. Should we, in fact, test it in fourth grade, which we have suspended this year. However, the history of reading, the history of this bill, is that in 2012, we put in law that the 5 pillars of reading, the science of reading, would be used in our schools. We have $45 million a year set aside for students who have a significant reading deficiency, and 15% of that is a grant fund. We have proof, we have evidence-based budgeting that it works, because schools who used that grant between 2012 and 2019, one in my district in Craig, increased their reading scores up from 40% to about 50%. It works. So then in 2019, all of you who were here then voted on a bill to add accountability and other elements to what we called the READ Act. And it worked. It absolutely worked. So we have 12,000 teachers signed up for a course furnished by CDE that gets great marks. 12,000 teachers doing it. We finally have our education preparation courses in most of our schools that graduate teachers teaching the science of reading for the first time. It took all that time, and in another bill in 19. So we've got this great positive momentum. Number one priority, higher education institutions on board to graduate teachers ready to teach. This course run by CDE, 12,000 teachers signed up. Why in the world would we put out a signal that, oh, that's not so important, you don't really have to do it, you have another year? Why would we do that at this point in time when we have that positive momentum going? So what's the penalty for not doing it? The penalty for not doing it is that the district must have their teachers qualified in order to receive this part of this separate money, separate from the School Finance Act. So if they don't want to if they don't want to make the effort to certify and get trained, then they forego the money for a year. Why would we put out a signal from the legislature that says, oh, that's okay, you don't have to do it, you still get all the money, no penalty? I just do not understand why we would do that, given that we have generated such a positive momentum for reading. I've been told, and I think it's true, that you can measure prison population by third grade reading. It takes a while, you gotta wait, but I've been told that's absolutely true. So we know that the difference between a kid who can read at third grade and one who can't is a life-changing difference. Why would we not do what we said in 2019? Unanimous vote. Every member of the Senate and every member of the House voted to put accountability into the READ Act. It's working. Why go backward at this point in time? I guess I'd like an explanation of why. Because people watch what we do. If we suddenly say, oh, that's okay, take another year, believe me, there are a lot of, there's tens of thousands of teachers out there who will see that. The districts will know that. Why not keep the positive momentum that we've generated? I want to look back on our joint unanimous support of reading in our schools is one of the things I remember for the years I have left after this legislature. I don't understand. Tell me why we should slow it down.
Senator Lundeen.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I add my voice to the very eloquent voice you have just heard, the senator from Carbondale, the northwestern quarter of our state he represents, and his passion for reading is perfectly well lodged, and his objection to this bill is also well lodged. Is there anything in our academic life or our intellectual pursuits as human beings more fundamental than the ability to read? You could argue perhaps that the ability to think comes before that, but how do you feed your ability to think if you cannot read? Nothing is more fundamental. It's kind of like reading a James Michener novel. They're all the same. They all start with the Big Bang, and pretty soon there's tectonic plates shifting. He always starts with the fundamentals. The story Centennial, the story of Our Beautiful State, starts essentially with the shifting of tectonic plates, the most fundamental element. But if you can't read, you can't enjoy the fact that reading is so fundamental, even in a novel as characterized by James Michener. You will hear from the bill sponsors that we just need more time. It's been tough. The pandemic's been so very difficult on people, and it has. It's been difficult for every single person in our state, in our society, to manage and deal with. So then what do we do when confronted with crisis and the difficulties of things like a pandemic? We focus on those things which are most fundamental to our job and what we need to do to succeed. Public education has the primary responsibility for the most students in our state to help them get to literacy before they get to third grade. That is at risk in the lives of tens of thousands of students in Colorado today because of the pandemic and our response to the pandemic. Let this bill not be part of that response that leads us further astray. We must stay on task. We must do that which is so critically important. We must press forward with the effort to support the literacy attainment of the students in our schools, support and encourage, and quite frankly, hold accountable teachers who must, even though it is challenging, find the ability, the will to drive forward in their literacy education. This bill, I think, stands in the way, as the previous speaker said. It sends a signal that is contrary to what we should be sending, and that is literacy is fundamental. If we're going to major on anything, let us major on the majors. In the public education space, very little could possibly be argued to be more important than learning how to read. Very little could be argued as possibly more important than helping teachers understand the science of teaching reading. This bill throws a roadblock in that continuum. It is not appropriate. It is not beneficial. I urge your opposition to 1129. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I voted against 1129 in Ed Committee for many of the same reasons. Was here when the original READ Act passed. We had to actually attach money to that act to implement it because folks in the districts and the teachers felt they needed to be paid again to ensure that kids were taught to read in third grade, and that was 10 years ago. And then we updated it, I believe, last year, and here we are once again pushing out more training for the READ Act. Talked to many folks knocking doors last spring, summer, and fall, and parents were very stressed, trying to stay on top of their work remotely, trying to homeschool their kids remotely, sharing bandwidth on whatever internet connection they had, trying to keep their kids up to speed. Our own family, personally, we decided to just keep going through summer, and we kept drilling our kids on math and reading through the summer. So I think if our kids can learn through the summer, I think as law currently allows, educators in the state of Colorado can get up to speed on better methods to teach our kids to read, especially at those critical years this summer, and we don't need to push it off for another year because more and more children will fall behind, and that is not a good thing for the state of Colorado. Again, I ask for a no vote on 1129.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to say first that there is something that I think we all agree on both sides of this issue, and that is the fundamental importance of reading, and particularly that third grade literacy point, where we make sure that folks are reading on grade level in third grade. We know there are a whole host of repercussions for folks that are not on grade level in third grade. And let's also agree on the critical importance of this training that we are providing to teachers. We know that when teachers have learned the science of reading, when they're teaching based on the science of reading, kids do a better job learning how to read. critically important. Good Senator asked, why would we stop the momentum? Well, we didn't stop the momentum, COVID stopped the momentum. And what we're doing right now is saying we are recognizing the reality that the best way to make sure that the information we know is so critical for these teachers, the best way to make sure that we are doing what is best for our kids is to make sure that teachers have the ability to take it in, that they're not squeezing this in around the edges. We are dramatically expanding programs over the summer, and we need teachers to teach those programs. We have teachers who, 40% of whom are ready to leave the profession entirely. The reason we are giving another year is because we know that long term, this is what's best for kids. Making sure that teachers take this information in a way that they can really absorb it and learn it and then teach it, that is critical for our kids. Kids are the focus of this bill. Kids are why we need to give an extra year for teachers to get this information so that we have those great results in our classrooms that we know come from this critical training. I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Rankin.
I would argue the good senator's point, although I know he's at least as passionate about reading as I am, and I appreciate that from the sponsors. However, I believe that COVID has made this requirement all the more urgent. You know, many of our kids have lost a year, up to a full year of instruction, point one. So I don't believe that COVID, I would assert that COVID made this a more urgent issue. Secondly, you know, this training, I mean, the science of teaching reading, which has emerged in the last 20 years or so, it is rocket science. It is not straightforward. It is not just reading to kids. It is understanding brain development and the sequence and the scope of this training so that it fits the kid, in many cases, individual kids' needs. It is rocket science. Our department, our Department of Education, has done an absolutely outstanding job in developing a course, online course, that can be taken in less than 40 hours of online instruction. But it's not easy. And it's not easy because it's so important. So I urge a no vote on this. Let's look, the difference is that a district would forfeit a very small part of their budget, which is a signal that we really mean it. That's why we have separate money from the School Finance Act. That's why we set it apart. That's why we voted unanimously, that this was our #1 priority in K-12. So, you know, COVID should be looked at as accelerating this, not slowing it down.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Members, I greatly appreciate the passion that the good senator from Centennial brings to this bill. Where are you from?
Arapahoe County.
Arapahoe County. Thank you.
Whatever.
He's from whatever. Sorry.
Whatever?
I appreciate the passion that the good senator.
We have
from
rules
Arapahoe
about
County-
disparaging one's district at the podium. No.
Sorry. I was merely following the lead of the good senator from Boulder County. Anyways, I just want to say, I greatly appreciate the passion that he brings, and, you know, he's down here saying, let's just give him another year. I just want you all to think about the message that we are sending to students and sending to parents. If a student misses his term paper, didn't get his term paper in, do we say, ah, shucks, let's just give him another year to get it done? No, we don't. The reality is this training is extremely important. I'm not going to repeat what the good senator from Carbondale stated. Thank you. But what I am going to say is just kind of put this into reality for you all. It's 45 hours of training. They have until the end of the year to get that done. If you don't count the rest of this month, it's about 5.6 hours a month that they need to spend training so that they can make sure that our kids, K through 3, have what's necessary so that they can read. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think it's too much to expect that they get this training done and that we all sit here and work and figure out how to work to get our kids caught up. Thank you. I urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Story.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, I appreciate the comments that have been made, and I appreciate the passion surrounding public education, and I am right there with those who have spoken passionately about public education and the need for changing our curriculum in the reading realm for K through third. But their districts are moving forward with utilizing CDE, science-approved curriculum for reading even now, even without the training under their belt, because the training provides science, evidence-based understanding for why this curriculum is what it is. But there is nothing stopping districts from moving forward with the curriculum, and in fact, they are. So the curriculum is in use, and the training is okay to come after, and it will be beneficial, and educators rave about it and say that it is really beneficial and they appreciate it. But the 45 hours of time is really tough given all the challenges that they have had during the period of COVID. And it's not like you can just take an hour of training a week. You can't spread it out that way. It's not set up that way. And so I urge an aye vote so that we can move this forward and give our educators a break on just this training that they don't have to have in order to utilize the curriculum, which they are using. Thank you.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd just add one more thing, which is this training is critical. If you are a teacher and can find any way to fit this in between now and the start of the next school year, please do so. But you're a teacher. You know the importance of this training. If you can do it, you're already going to do it. So this is incredibly important training. Get it done as soon as you can. But if you can't, it's just one more year. I urge an aye vote on the bill.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1129. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1129 is adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report. So much so that I even dissuaded controversy over the bills that I was told were going to be yeah, they saw me up there and they thought twice.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Madam President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report has had in consideration the following House bills being second reading, thereof makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1060, 1057 as amended, 1129 passed on second reading in order to revise and place on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 61 and 116 laid over until April 21st and retain their place on the calendar.
Will the clerk please add Senator Kirkmeyer to the roll? Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the adoption of the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. House Bill 21, 1060, 1057 as amended, 1129 passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 21, 61, and 116 laid over until 421 and retaining their place on the calendar. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Member of the Board of Trustees for the Colorado School for the Deaf and Blind for a term expiring July 1st, 2023. Martin Becerra Miranda, Centennial, Colorado, an unregistered voter, occasioned by the resignation of Brent C. Petrona, Centennial, Colorado, appointed members of the College and Invest Board of Directors effective July 31st, 2020 for terms expiring July 31st, 2024. Frederick Taylor, Denver, Colorado, reappointed. Jane Ingles of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Paul Washington Boulder, Colorado, appointed. Members of the Colorado Water Resources and Power Development Authority for a term expiring October 1st, 2024. Eric Wilkerson of Greeley, Colorado, serves as representative from South Platte Damage Basin as a member who has experience in engineering aspects of water projects, appointed. Patricia Wells of Denver, Colorado, representative for the City and Council of Denver, who is familiar with the water problems and is a member who has experience in water law, appointed.
Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar, which includes members of the Board of Trustees for the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind, College Invest Board of Directors, and members of the Colorado Water Resources and Power Development Authority.
Is there any discussion on any of the appointments? The motion is for the confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, all appointments are confirmed. Consideration of governor's appointments. Will the clerk please read the appointment to the Public Employees Retirement Benefit Plans?
Member of the Public Employees Retirement Plan for a term expiring July 10th, 2024, Taylor Colton McLemore, Denver, Colorado, serves as representative with experience and competence in investment management, financing, banking, economics, accounting, pension administration, or actuarial analysis, and as an unaffiliated occasion by the resignation of James Charles Colano of Denver, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Pedersen.
Thank you. I move the confirmation of Taylor McLemore to the Public Employees Retirement Benefit Plans.
Is there any discussion? Senator Lundeen.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I rise not so much to raise a quarrel with Taylor Clayton McLemore. Seems like a fine individual because he, until recently, carried a D behind his name in his registration, and I carry an R behind my name in my registration. Doesn't cause me to have quarrel with him. I rise mostly in the acknowledgement of a process foul, and there has been a pattern, perhaps, of what I would describe as a process foul. And I also acknowledge that the acknowledgement broadly of this process foul is in the air, has been conversed upon, is discussed, and acknowledged. And hopefully it is something that will disappear from this chamber and disappear from our debate. But to describe what that process foul is, follows. The Para Board, and I have all sorts of challenges, frankly, about the way the Para Board is composed, the way it governs itself. I believe the governance of Para needs to be dramatically changed, separate conversation. But the governor has the ability to appoint 3 individuals to that board. And the law says also, in addition to the ability to appoint 3, no more than 2 of the 3 may be of the same party. Well, there are 2 Democrat members on the para board appointed by previous governors, one in 2017, one in 2019. And this individual, Mr. Mecklemore, appointed and serving since January 8th of 2021, even though only now today are we voting on this appointment, was until December of 38 days prior to the appointment, registered for more than a decade as a Democrat. Contributions, Democrat only. So the process foul is this. An individual who until recently was clearly a Democrat, 38 days later after disaffiliating, is appointed to the board as an unaffiliated. Doesn't pass the smell test. The claim of process foul, quite frankly, the acknowledgement of process foul, and for me, simply a no vote, not in conflict with Mr. Mecklemore, but quite frankly, as an acknowledgement and a stake in the ground that this will be, hopefully, the last time that this pattern of appointing individuals who may appear to be unaffiliated, except when you look under the covers and begin to understand the individual, they are not, in fact, unaffiliated, that this, in fact, goes away. Why is that important? That's important because we in Colorado know that our state is becoming more characterized by a third, a third, a third. We've got a number of Democrats, we've got a number of Republicans, approximately a third and a third, but the center of the political spectrum, the unaffiliateds, represent about a third, and that's quite frankly a growing group of the electorate. I think we need to acknowledge that. The law is clear. We need to own that, and we need to be more precise, not only in the letter of how we apply that truth of our society, but in the practice. So I rise in opposition, not of a fine individual who, should he be confirmed, I believe would serve well, but in acknowledgement of a process foul. Thank you, Madam President.
Further discussion, Senator Cook.
Thank you, Madam President. I too rise in opposition of Mr. Mecklemore. And again, I too, not because of who he is. I don't know him. I'm sure he's a fine gentleman and maybe even makes a good commissioner on the board. But again, it's the process. We see a governor time and time again that skirts the law or doesn't care about the intent of the law. Once again, he appoints a Democrat to the board. So there's 3 Democrats on the para board. He's done it on COGCC. Every commissioner on there is a Democrat. They might have 2 of them that say they're unaffiliated, but we know that's not true. Did it on the PUC. You know, the reason the law is pretty clear, it says no more than 2 from one party, is to give a voice to the other people in this state, to give a voice to the Republicans or the Democrats if the Republicans are in control. Basically what he's doing is taking away that voice of the minority once again. And again, he doesn't care about the intent of the law. And so I rise in opposition to Mr. Mecklemore, not because of who he is, but because of the process. And I wish the governor would care more about the other half of this state, the other half of the people that live in this state who don't have a voice on a lot of these commissions. So I'd ask for a no vote.
The motion is the Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I urge support for this nominee. We heard a discussion of him and talked to him in the Finance Committee, and he is eminently qualified. I don't think anyone is questioning that. He's, you know, this para board has 620,000 members, and they manage some $50 billion in assets, so it's a consequential board. This gentleman is, I think, the archetype of who we would want on the board. If you look at his background, in addition to his education at Harvard, he's got investment management background, pension background, administrative, actuarial background, And he works with Brad Felt, the tech advisors, and does a lot of community service to support entrepreneurs. And he is basically the precise type of person we want on the board. I resist the characterization of a process foul. He was an unaffiliated person at the point in time he was nominated. So that's not a process foul, that's complete compliance with the requirements of appointment to the board. He was unaffiliated, and that's what is required. I would be pleased as a pension recipient under PARA in Colorado to have a person with this expertise. They're a little difficult to get, PARA people, because it requires such extensive amounts of disclosure that a lot of people resist joining the PARA board. But this guy is the archetype of what we want, and his appointment was made in compliance with the law for appointment of trustees. I urge an aye vote for Mr. McLemore.
The motion is the confirmation of the governor's appointment to the Public Employees Retirement Benefit Plans. Are there any no votes? No votes. Senator Sonnenberg, Cook, Lundin, Gardner, Minority Leader Holbert, Simpson, Kirkmeyer, Coram, Liston, Heisey, Woodward, Priola, Rankin, Smallwood. With a vote of 20 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excuse, that appointment is confirmed. Message from the governor.
April 19, Colorado Senate. All members of the Colorado Senate, pursuant to the authority vested in the office of the Governor of the State of Colorado, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and filed with the Secretary of State the following acts. Senate Bill 26, Restoration of Honor Act, approved on Monday, April 19, 2021 at 2:05 p.m. Senate Bill 78, Lost or Stolen Firearms, approved on Monday, April 19, 2021 at 12:20 p.m.
Signing of bills.
April 20th, the President has signed Senate Bills 130, 224, 225, and 227.
Announcements. Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam President. The Senate Local Government Committee will meet at 2 o'clock today. We're hearing 3 bills. House Bill 1009, House Bill 1084, and House Bill 1095. Thanks.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, the Senate State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee will be meeting today at 2 p.m. in the Old Supreme Court. We will be hearing Senate Bill 199, Senate Bill 247, House Bill 1051, House Bill 1011, and House Bill 1121 in that order. I will see you promptly at 2 p.m.
Senator Story.
Thank you, Madam President. I have asked to be excused for tomorrow and have approval from leadership.
Senator Story will be excused tomorrow from the floor. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. The CCJJ is making a presentation at 1:30 tomorrow, the Colorado Criminal and Juvenile Justice Commission, on their Sentencing Reform Task Force. There's going to be a significant bill, colleagues, coming forth from this task force on misdemeanor reclassifications. So if you want to get the background of it, I urge you to be in the Old State Library at 1:30 today, Tuesday. Thank you.
Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate recess until 12 noon today.
The motion is to stand in recess, and to 1200 C, no objection, we stand in recess.